We're trying to figure out how to prevent this festering violence that you see on the far left from becoming even more and more mainstream. And before
if you want, by the way, like a picture perfect example, look no further, man. All the times I've said the Republicans have worked really hard to integrate new media into the administration and Democrats won't. This is insane. I never thought they would go this far. They're literally hosting a Charlie Kirk live stream and having members of the president's cabinet on as guests. It's literally just the White House putting on an episode of a Republican-affiliated independent broadcasting and media platform. It's insane.
Do that, Stephen. I want to do this with every guest because you're a friend of Charlie's, and one of the things I'm hoping that people get out of this is an understanding for the kind of guy that Charlie was, who he was. And so before I talk to you about what we're doing to try to prevent something like this from happening again, maybe you could just talk about why you love Charlie, what memories you have of him, something that would give our audience a sense of what he was behind the microphone.
I've known Charlie for 10 years. He was a treasured friend. And you know, it's going to sound, he made you believe more in yourself, is the best way I could put that.
That's right.
He was your biggest cheerleader. He would, if I was working on
Jesus Christ, look at these demon people, man. Oh my God.
A hard project, an important executive order, a major new initiative, he would give me the strength and the focus to get it done.
That's right.
He was everybody's supporter, enthusiast, cheerleader, promoter. He made all of us better every single day. You know, the memory that I keep turning to is not a single memory. It's a period of a couple months after we won the election. And Charlie was in the campaign or the transition office every single day. And from dawn till dusk, volunteering his time to get into the weeds, the nitty-gritty of
none of these people have a soul. Also, yeah, look at the lapel roll on this tuxedo. It's abysmal.
He was so...
I've got 30 seconds, so be quick, Stephen.
The organized doxing campaigns, the organized riots, the organized street violence, the organized campaigns of dehumanization, vilification, posting people's addresses, combining that with messaging that's designed to trigger and incite violence, and the actual organized cells that carry out and facilitate the violence. It is a vast domestic terror movement. And with God as my witness, we are going to use every resource we have at the Department of Justice, Homeland Security, and throughout this government to identify, disrupt, dismantle, and destroy these networks and make...
Buddy, you are the chief of staff. My brother in Christ. That is, those are not your departments.
Make America safe again for the American people. It will happen, and we will do it in Charlie's name.
Thank you, Stephen. Don't go away. I'll be joined by a guest of friends just in a few seconds. See you soon.
Balls in the wait. Okay, sorry. For a second, I thought that was Green Day. No, the Nirvana song, the one everyone knows. Smells Like Teen Spirit. Yeah, the opening riff. This guy looks like yassified Charlie Kirk. Holy shit! This is the guy who posts from the White House account, right? Or is it a different like soy Reddit big glasses beard guy?
And I thought what I'd start with is, you know, we all knew Charlie the man, not just Charlie the personality or Charlie the celebrity or Charlie the guy who did debates on college campuses. I want to start with you, Taylor. What's something that you wish people knew about Charlie that they don't if they just watch his clips on X or YouTube or wherever?
With Charlie, what you see is what you get, and I think that was true even from my first interactions with him on the 2020 presidential campaign. We would always be doing these fundraisers. Don Jr., Kimberly Guilfoyle, who was the Trump Victory Finance Chair, would host these big fundraising events. Charlie was always the first one to show up. And we would do these team events.
I have no idea who these people are.
And you'd always want Charlie on your...
I'm pretty sure this is the guy who runs the White House account. Carolyn Levitt came over.
then at the invitation of Charlie to get his message across, and Charlie was incredibly supportive of the non-traditional new media strategy that the president took.
This one was a 10-minute radio break.
And, you know, the president loved Charlie deeply. You know that, Mr. Vice President, and I know that.
Damn.
And I know.
Last 30 years, we've been funding unnecessarily bureaucracy in our education the last 30 or 40 years, and President Trump goes to abolish it.
You know, I agree. In private, he would say that.
You can't have Tucker Carlson on. I've heard what he has to say about Israel and, you know, other things. RFK Jr. is up next. Is this the appearance where RFK Jr. said that he met Charlie Kirk in 2001 and they instantly became soulmates? Was it here?
Sparklers on the stage when we shook hands, and that was all Charlie's orchestration. That was his idea, and he insisted on that. But I first met Charlie in July of 2020.
Me, first day at How to Stand class. And then after that, it's Susie Wiles. Okay, one of the actual brains behind the administration. Okay, the end, it's just JD Vance. Gotcha. That's the whole structure.
Titans of the American progressive movement. The writer accuses Charlie of saying, and I quote, "Black women do not have brain processing power to be taken seriously." But if you go and watch the clip, the very clip she links to, you realize he never said anything like that. He never uttered those words. He made an argument against affirmative action as a policy. He criticized a specific Supreme Court justice as an individual. He never.
Guys, I'm going to be honest with you. You are actually taking the quote out of context. He's making the argument that the only reason affirmative action could exist from the perspective of people proposing it is if they thought that black people were inferior and could only get those jobs if they had the help to do so. It is a clip that's out of context. I don't really give a shit because everything's evil and wrong now anyway. But it's like when people say Charlie Kirk called for gay people to be stoned to death under God's perfect law. He didn't actually say that. Like, it's out of context. The weird thing is, to me, like, Charlie Kirk said tons and tons of obviously evil shit that wasn't him setting up a rhetorical argument. It was just him saying it openly. I don't know why some people latched on to, like, the only things you could find where there was exonerating context. Like, he didn't make it difficult to find him saying horrible shit.
Said anything about black women as a group. He made an argument for judging people of all races and backgrounds by their own individual merits. The very evidence she provides.
To be fair, people have been posting tons of clips, but JD won't respond to that. Yeah, of course. I don't give a shit, right? Like, he was an evil piece of shit. I'm not going to argue about, like, oh, well, you need to. If only you had rhetorically attacked him the correct way, all the conservatives would have come to their senses. Like, no, of course not. No one cares, but, you know.
This hack of a writer shows that she lied about a dead man, and yet she wrote it. An esteemed magazine published it. It made it through the editors, and of course, liberal billionaires rewarded that attack. Now, of course, even if Charlie had uttered those words, it wouldn't mean that he deserved his fate. But consider the level of propaganda at work. Charlie was gunned down in broad daylight, and well-funded institutions of the left lied about what he said so as to justify his murder. This is soulless and evil. But I was struck not just by the dishonesty of this smear, but by the glee over a young husband's and young father's death. Quote, she says, "He was an unrepentant racist, transphobe, homophobe, and misogynist."
Yeah.
The Nation wrote, who often wrapped his bigotry in Bible verses because there was no other way to pretend that it was morally correct. He had children, as do many vile people. That's what they said. He had children, as do many vile people.
And? Yeah.
Now, hours before this smear was published.
Wait, do you have a rebuttal to that point? Is your assertion that no one who has ever had children is a bad person? What's the argument here?
My wife and I had the honor of escorting Charlie's body back to his home in Arizona.
Yeah, remember that one where, again, like, Charlie Kirk was a podcaster and JD Vance just has his hand resting on his casket while loading it onto Air Force Two? Insane.
We took his wife, Erica, we love you, his parents, his sister, and a few of his best friends with us. And as they offloaded Charlie's casket from Air Force Two, I worried that Erica would collapse with grief. Now, I'm a very lucky husband to a very wonderful wife, but I have never been prouder of my wife than that moment as she held Erica in Erica's very darkest hour. And I thought of Erica as I read that disgusting attack on Charlie. He had children, as do many vile people. That's what they said about him.
I'm noticing like a distinct lack of a counter argument to this point. Of all the things to fixate on in the article, like I've read the Nation article. You know, there's tons of stuff in there describing how Charlie was bad. We're getting hung up on like the concept that a person can be a father and a bad person at the same time.
I said the Lord's Prayer. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven.
And I need Reddit atheism back so bad, dude. None of these people believe in God at all. None of these people give a single shit. In fact, I would say like New Atheism or Reddit atheism was actually the most successful project ever, the most successful like social project in the world, because even religious people are atheists now. None of these people believe in God.
I asked TPUSA what Erica had said to her earlier in the day.
Like literally, these people invoke the Lord's Prayer the same way that like 4chaners would say "for the Emperor" when talking about how they hate furries. There's exactly the same level of investment and belief in both of these things.
In a private moment, and I asked Erica's permission to share this. My wife told me, she asked me for advice. Erica asked me for advice on how she should tell her children that their father had been murdered. She asked my wife how to tell her beautiful kids.
Wait, I saw this. Didn't they say to like a 3-year-old kid that Charlie had gone out to work with Jesus so they could raise money to pay for her blueberries? Like the 3-year-old likes to eat blueberries, so she was like, well, your father Charlie had to go out with Jesus to raise money for the blueberries. Is that it? That's it, right? That ain't healthy. No, I'm sure that was the best possible way to handle that conversation.
That their father and my dear, very dear friend is no longer with us. And as she was doing it, there were people dancing on that father's grave.
Wait, give the answer. Wait, to tell us the stupid, shitty answer that she came up with, please.
I've heard many calls in the last few days for unity and for healing in the wake of Charlie's assassination. You have no idea how desperately I want that, how gratified I was when Democratic friends and even former Senate colleagues reached out to offer their condolences to me. I'm so thankful. And I know there are so many like them all across.
Wait, hold on. Is this true? Did Donald Trump really not appear? Was Charlie's vigil today and Trump wasn't there? That's so funny, dude. That's so he was like a son to him. That's so funny.
Across our great country.
He doesn't give a shit, dude.
I am desperate to wrap my arms around them as we all unite to condemn political violence and the ideas that cause it. Psalm 133 tells us, "Behold how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. It is like the precious ointment upon the head." Oh, how badly have I craved that precious ointment in recent days, and I believe we can have it. But first, we must tell the truth. It's the only way to honor Charlie, for what was he, if not a man who told the truth in every place, in every environment? Now, the most important truth Charlie told is this, that long ago a man, begotten, not made, came down from heaven, and by the Holy Spirit was incarnate of the Virgin Mary and became man. For our sake, he was crucified under Pontius Pilate.
You know what I think is one of the most transparent giveaways that he doesn't actually believe? The fact that a religious person who was actually in a position of power like this, trying to propagandize, would not be speaking in a way where he's obviously just trying to indicate that he is religious. He would try to actually proselytize. Like, he would try to bridge the gap here. He knows he's speaking to a very, 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 very broad audience. But rather than, like, synthesizing that audience with rhetoric that's meant to, like, make religious a secular event or otherwise, he's just, like, repeating the lines to showboat. He's trying too hard, essentially, yeah.
And suffered death and was buried and rose again on the third.
Because, like, a good comparison, guys, religious statements from political leaders, super, super common all throughout American history. Basically, every president's been Christian, right? You can see lots of statements of legitimate religiosity from elected officials. And for the most part, it's like, I wouldn't say the tone is apologetic. It's more like an acknowledgement of this shared faith. Like, here's a take from me. Here's a perspective. But it overwhelmingly, like, the tone was not this, like, let's pretend we're in Bible class, you know? Because no one's there for that. They're there for some government thing, you know? It's trying too hard.
Third day. Charlie believed, as I do, that all the truth he told flowed from that fundamental principle.
Yeah, that was great, dude.
I really do believe that we can come together in this country. I believe we must. But unity, real unity, can be found only after climbing the mountain of truth. And there are difficult truths we must confront in our country. One truth is that 24% of self-described, quote, very liberals believe it is acceptable to be happy about the death of a political opponent.
But dude, look at my First Amendment, dude. Whether or not it's acceptable to feel something, Jesus Christ. That's really the statistic you want to go with? This is like the line you want to run? You want to make the argument of, like, unironically thought crime?
While only 3% of self-described very conservatives agree. 3% is too many, of course.
Well, obviously the difference here being that conservatism is bad. So if you are very happy at the death of a political opponent and the political opponent's conservative, you have, like, a broader moral justification. The same can't really be said, like, in the opposite direction. Once again, we're arriving at this good things are good, bad things are bad thing. And once again, we're arriving at this dickless liberal fascism thing. A real fascist would not be sitting here preaching about how it's unacceptable, political violence is bad. How dare you? How dare even 3% of conservatives in this country believe it ever to be acceptable to feel happiness at the death of a political opponent? Come on, man. We know what you think, and we know how you all act. We know how you acted with Floyd. We know how you acted with the Democrats in Minnesota. We know how you act every time there's a gay queer club shooting or whatever. We know how you feel. We know how you were with Paul Pelosi. Why are you lying to us? We know how you are.
Another truth is that 26% of young liberals believe political violence is sometimes justified.
These people could not define political violence if you asked. I'm not that I'm going to engage in, like, debate bro semantics, proxy live stream with the vice president. Though right now, at least in this moment, the vice president and I are both equals in the sense that we're both live streamers, which is an incredible denigration of the office of the vice presidency, by the way. Not that they care.
And only 7% of young conservatives say the same. Again, too high a number.
And then those same conservatives will, like, gleefully watch the police beat, like, immigrants and drag them over to concentration camps. So I would just argue conservatives are stupid and don't know what political violence is. Like, they object, like, the entire platform of conservatism is a celebration of political violence against the other, against undesirables. So you just, it's not our fault you don't know the definition. I would love to see one of those studies, by the way, where they actually define political violence. And once you include, like, violence by the military or police, there's no way, man.
In a country of 330 million people, you can, of course, find
300 million of whom died last year due to drugs.
One person of a given political persuasion justifying this or that or almost anything. But the data is clear. People on the left are much likelier to defend and celebrate political violence.
Well, they know what political violence is, or they're more likely to. It's not like every liberal's smart.
is not a both sides problem. If both sides have a problem, one side has a much bigger and malignant problem, and that is the truth.
And it pans out when you take a look at average IQ score for Republican and Democrat voters. You see how there have been conservatives saying that Tyler Robinson, or whatever the name is, the shooter, was radicalized to leftism from one semester of college. Like a conservative education is so weak, like an upbringing, that even a single semester of college is enough to turn you into a Antifa shooter. This is only going to get worse over the coming years, by the way. The IQ gap between Republicans and Democrats is widening with time.
Truth we must be told. That problem has terrible consequences. The leader of our party, Donald J. Trump, escaped an assassin's bullet by less than an inch. Our House majority leaders.
Majority leavers. It's so strange to watch this. Japanese fascists would never soy like this. It'd be too humiliating. Yeah, I guess it's, I don't know. I don't know enough about like the Japanese political dynamic, but I do know that all of this is just a reaffirmation of what I've said, right? They're cosplayers. They're content creators.
Stephen Scalise came within seconds of death by an assassin himself. And now, the most influential conservative activist in generations, our friend Charlie, has been murdered. The most powerful conservative activist in generations? Okay. Violence, it doesn't come from nowhere. Now, any political movement, violent or not violent, is a collection of forces. It's like a pyramid that stacks on top, one support on top of the other.
At the start of this year, 30% of Republicans supported Jan 6. You're right. These people have no idea what political violence is. Well, there's nothing. Conservatives are, like, by virtue of their political doctrine, bad people. They like bad things. They might not know that the things they like are bad, but they're bad anyway. The main thing conservatives fear is not Democrats making the world worse for them, because by and large, Democrats don't actually negatively affect their lives much at all. Democrats don't really do much. They're kind of useless. What they really fear is being ostracized for their terrible, terrible personality and beliefs. That's why every Republican, nonstop, that's always them, they're the ones going to social media complaining that people don't still want to be friends with them once they found out there. This never happens in reverse. Nobody is out there on social media saying, you know, I lost all of my... no one wants to date me now because I support Mamdani. This is a non-existent problem. Nobody does it. Everybody knows the real reason that Trump supporters have trouble socially isn't just because of their political views, though that should be enough. Being a bad person politically should be enough. But it's also because they're generally odious and unlikable people, by and large, just in a wide variety of ways. You know, terrible, terrible people. Their big terror is the social ostracization, which is why it's our obligation to prove them right. They should be ostracized.
That pyramid's got a foundation of donors, of activists, of journalists, now of social media influencers, and of course of politicians.
I've been roped in.
Not every member of that pyramid would commit a murder. In fact, over 99%, I'm sure, would not. But by celebrating that murder.
Wait, interesting. Hold on one second. Charlie, are you suggesting then that speech can be violence? Are you suggesting that a person doesn't have to be the one to pull the trigger, but rather by being part of a broader political structure that enables and supports and justifies an act of violence? You care? Is it? I think I might have caught this Republican in an act of hypocrisy.
Apologizing for it and emphasizing not Charlie's.
You call him Charlie? I don't give a who these people are. They're all indistinguishable. None of these people are mentally unique. They're interchangeable cogs in a grift machine. They have no independent personalities. Charlie Kirk. Nobody mourns Charlie Kirk's death. Okay. Charlie Kirk's wife was like 1 day later was posting videos of her caressing his dead hand and going, "I'll get you. I'll run more ads than you thought possible." None of these people care. They just want to get their bag and go home. Only Candace Owens seemed actually sad. Yeah, that's kind of true. She's having fun with it.
Innocence, but the fact that he said things some didn't like, even to the point of lying about what he actually said, many of these people are creating an environment where things like this are inevitably going to happen. A couple of months ago, I headlined a fundraiser in Southern California, and since, we'd be out there anyways, my wife and I decided to take our kids to Disneyland one weekend. We had fun, and to be clear, most of the guests said very nice things, or they just left us alone. But there was a loud and very vocal minority that would shout at my children, who were 8, 5, and 3, whenever they got the opportunity. "You should disown your dad, you little shit," one middle-aged woman yelled at my 5-year-old. "Tell the Secret Service to protect the Constitution, not your father," screamed another. Are
Damn, spitting with that one.
these women violent? Probably not. Are they deranged? Certainly. And while our side of the
and don't put in the newspaper that I'm mad. He's actually like, again, because these people are just grifters who want to enjoy their day once they're done with the hate speech, you know? Like, this is why they get really pissed when you interrupt that, you know?
While certainly has its crazies, it is a statistical fact that most of the lunatics in American politics today are proud members of the far left.
Unless you look at any statistics on violence by political affiliation, in which case it's the opposite. Like literally any stats by an overwhelming majority, the far right is the one. Remember, on the same day that Charlie Kirk got murked, there was a neo-Nazi 16-year-old who shot up his school. Literally the same day, like just like within an hour of each other.
After Charlie died, one of his friends and one of our senior White House staffers had left-leaning operatives in his neighborhood passing out leaflets telling people what he looked like and where he lived, encouraging neighbors to harass him or, God forbid, to do worse.
Really? Did the leaflets say that to like attack him, or did the leaflets merely point? I was like, listen, dude, remember 5 minutes ago when I said the biggest fear these people have is that they might face social consequences for being evil? Literally, this is what, like, he is speaking to the nation right now, and his like, "this is our moment" speech is oriented around, like, we should not ever face any social consequences for raping the country to death. We should be able to kill millions, rape the country, destroy the Constitution, ruin everyone's lives, ruin your futures, f everything up, but God forbid anyone ever tell us to our face that they hate us for it.
While he was mourning his dead friend, he and his wife had to...
I cannot overstate, and again, hypocrisy posting, etc. I cannot overstate how okay every single Republican is, by the way, with this behavior directed the other way. Like, are you kidding me? If any Democrat, it doesn't matter whether or not they've done harm, any Democrat whatsoever facing public harassment, they're fine with it. AOC, Ilhan Omar, whatever, they get death threats and rape threats every single day. None of these people care. They don't care at all. No care at all.
Worry about the political terrorists drawing a big target on the home he shares with his young children. Are these people violent? I hope not. But are they guilty of encouraging violence? You damn well better believe it. We can thank God that most Democrats don't share these attitudes, and I do, while acknowledging that something has gone very wrong with a lunatic fringe, a minority, but a growing and powerful minority on the far left.
I take back what I said earlier, that J.D. Vance would be like Miller in the sense that he might actually be willing to put his balls on the table. I completely take it back. 100. That was stupid of me. I take it back completely. Miller is the only person I know of in the administration who might be willing to. No, J.D. Vance absolutely would not.
There is no unity with people who scream at children over their parents' politics. There is no unity with someone who lies about what Charlie Kirk said in order to excuse his murder. There is no unity with someone who harasses an innocent family the day after the father of that family lost a dear friend. There is no unity with the people who celebrate Charlie Kirk's assassination.
Like, he's genuinely more angry about the thought crimes and more angry about the harassment from protesters than he is about the assassination itself. Like, he has the opportunity here to make it into a, like, they're killing us, they're trying to kill us, because Miller does that, you know? Even before the assassination of Kirk, Miller's like, no, actually, every Democrat is a deranged terrorist and they want to kill all of us. Like, he posts like it's Poll, you know? But J.D. Vance has the opportunity to do the same here. Instead, he's like, how dare you interrupt our holiday?
And there is no unity with the people who fund these articles, who pay the salaries of these terrorist sympathizers, who argue that Charlie Kirk, a loving husband and father, deserved a shot to the neck because he spoke words with which they disagree.
But you haven't described anyone saying that, certainly not in the articles. What articles said he deserved it?
Did you know that the George Soros Open Society...
Also, you're openly calling for the punishment of people for the words they say.
Foundation and the Ford Foundation, the groups who funded that disgusting article, justifying Charlie's death.
We saw this.
Do you know they benefit from generous tax treatment? They are literally subsidized by you and me, the American taxpayer. And how do they reward us?
And nothing's going to be done about it because the subsidies that they benefit from benefit lots and lots and lots of foundations and hedge funds and NGOs, and you can't unwind that without unwinding power structures that you benefit from. So you're not going to do anything about it because you're totally dickless. You have no interest whatsoever in changing anything fundamentally. You just want to try to aura farm, and you can't because you look like that and you sound like that.
By setting fire to the house built by the American family over 250 years. I am desperate for our country to be united in condemnation of the actions and the ideas that killed my friend. I want it so badly that I will tell you a difficult truth. We can only have it with people who acknowledge that political violence is unacceptable, and when we work to dismantle the institutions that promote violence and terrorism in our own country. Now, our government, you heard me talk to...
It's funny because he's kind of like, he's echoing my rhetoric except about J6, right? Like, we gave this country up when everything that allowed J6 to happen was not torn to shreds by Merrick Garland. The difference, of course, being that January 6th was like an organized effort to overthrow the government that was facilitated and defended by many people in power, whereas Charlie Kirk's assassination was a guy, one guy. So there's not really much like underlying... I mean, listen, okay? If you want to go fair in both directions, I'll say it. I support the legal system investigating and prosecuting Tyler Robinson. Yeah, I said it. I'm one of the rare liberals. Yeah, I think we'll take that. You can investigate and prosecute and so on Tyler Robinson, and we go after everyone involved in J6.
Stephen Miller about this. We'll be working very hard to do exactly that in the months to come. We're not always going to get it right.
It's so funny, the ties that he has too. Hold on.
Institutions that promote violence and terrorism in our own country. Now, our government, you heard me talk to Stephen Miller about this, will be working very hard to do exactly that in the months to come.
And why didn't you bring on Pam Bondi? Like, if you're actually using this as the opening point to tear apart the liberal civil society, why is Miller the guy you talked about it with?
We're not always going to get it right. We will sometimes move more slowly than you would like. We will sometimes move more slowly than I want us to.
Oh my God, dude. This is so embarrassing. It's one of the rare times I'm looking at an integration of new media with the Republican Party, and I'm saying I don't want the Democrats to do this. Can you imagine if they came across this weak and ham-handed, if, like, I don't know, Hassan got murked or something? If you had, you know, Kamala Harris do a bit where she's like hemming and hawing over this, it would look so bad.
But I promise you that we will explore every option to bring real unity to our country and stop those who would kill their fellow Americans because they don't like what they say. But you have a role too. Civil society, Charlie understood this well, is not just something that flows from the government.
Yeah? Oh, I'm sorry, are there doctrines of thought suggesting otherwise? Can you find me someone who believes civil society flows downward from the government? What? That's such a telling statement for an authoritarian, you know? Oh, but believe you me, folks, I don't believe that civil society merely comes from state power. I didn't think it did either. I'm happy to hear that. Thank you. Continue.
Flows from each and every one of us. It flows from all of us.
Thanks. I'm also familiar with the concept of a civil society. Thanks.
So when you see someone celebrating Charlie's murder, call them out. And hell, call their employer. We don't...
Cancel culture. Someone in chat earlier said they lost their job over this. That sucks. Just don't worry about it too much, okay? I'm sure tons and tons of Republicans lost their jobs over, like, refusing to get the vax or whatever. Just take it. You have to take it in stride a little bit, okay? Everyone will forget this soon. The right doesn't believe in anything, so it's pretty difficult for them to maintain any kind of, like, sincere political engagement over a long period of time. They'll focus on something else.
We don't believe in political violence, but we do believe in civility. And there is no civility in the celebration of political...
Like, see, dog, look at my fascist movement. What the... We don't believe in political violence, but we do believe in civility. What the... I'm not even hypocrisy pointing. We know they're not civil. That's not the point. This is what I mean about like no nuts on the table. Why would you ever say this? Okay, from a rhetorical perspective, who benefits? How does JD Vance benefit from pretending that his side wants civility? Do you think there are any Republicans or independents watching this going, yes, we are the civil ones, yes, and it's like reaffirming their belief? What are you talking about?
Assassination.
Hitler ordering his brown shirts to write letters to all employers of Communist Party members. No, it's so dickless that it's embarrassing. It's actually a concession of weakness. You're the vice president, and you're like, listen, we believe in playing nice, so everyone make sure to call the employers of the people you see on social media who are mean. Oh yeah, dude, I'm quaking in my boots. I mean, obviously, if you get fired, it sucks. I'm a live streamer, so my, job dynamic's a little bit different, admittedly, but like, these people talk like they're building the Fourth Reich, and then this shit happens, Now, I said this after Charlie Kirk died. A lot of people were like, they're going to use this as the Reichstag fire. And I was saying, well, no, because to them, there's no difference between Charlie Kirk getting assassinated and the Aunt Jemima logo replacement. It's all the same thing to them. Everything is, this is civil war. This is war, It's difficult for them to turn the heat up on that.
Get involved, get involved, get involved. It's the best way to honor Charlie's legacy. Start a chapter of TPUSA or get involved in the one that already exists. If you're older, volunteer for your local party, write an op-ed in your local paper, run for office. I can't promise you this is going to be easy. I can't promise you that all of us will avoid Charlie's fate.
I
can't promise you that I will avoid.
All I can say is that he has the power to just initiate a mass campaign of violence here. Like, he could do that. Nothing would happen to him.
Charlie's fate. But the best way to honor him is to shine the light of truth like a torch in the very darkest places. Go do it. We owe
If anything, it almost reads to me like a call to de-escalate. Like it's almost like he's saying, put down the torches and pitchforks, okay? We don't want to keep this like low simmer. We don't want to take the low simmer up to a boil, all right? Go and volunteer or something. Go do fascist direct action or something. I don't know, whatever it's
to our friend to ensure that his killer is not just prosecuted but punished.
Mutual aid.
And the worst punishment is not the death penalty, but the knowledge that Charlie's mission continues after he's gone. St. Paul tells us in the book of Ephesians to put on the full armor of God. Let all of us put on that armor and commit ourselves to that cause for which Charlie gave his life, to rebuild a united States of America, and to do it by telling the truth.
Sir? Okay, great. Wow, that's crazy. Are you all feeling a little more like I keep telling you guys, I'm going to say it again. The big enemies we need to face are like entropic. It's inertial, they're inertial and they're entropic, because the Republicans right now are basically as do nothing as the Democrats. They're just like 4 tiers above on the spicy level. Like the Democrats and Republicans are both united in doing all. They're just like they've decided to settle in different places. Imagine being so bad you can't beat this. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. God, I hope the Zeron energy carries forward for a while. It's about who gets to do nothing. That's the thing, man. Literally, for the past 30 years in the West, every developed country it's just been a battle to determine who gets to do nothing. It's crazy. But it's true. That's literally what's happening. Vosh 5 days ago, no one says nothing ever happens, a lot happens. Well, the things that are happening aren't because of the government, really. At least not relative to the rhetoric they're using. The things that are happening feel, like I said, more entropic. Like climate change is going to happen, okay? Economic catastrophe. There are systems in place that are breaking. It's just like, I don't know. No one has any idea what they're doing. Do you think the fascists feel just as hopeless about the future as the leftists? And the reason the fascists aren't willing to put their balls on the table is because they think they'd be inheriting a dead world? Like the fascists of the 30s thought the world was open to them, and if they could fight for it, the fields of milk and honey would be theirs. But now people are like, what? Do a race war? For what? What for? What's the point? Like, yeah, we could. What would we get from it? This shit? I think it's because on some level we've lost the ability to hope for a better world. Well, if it makes you feel any better in like a spiteful sense, do keep in mind that at least 100,000 neo-Nazis watched this broadcast from JD Vance and were white-knuckling in rage at the vice president, like essentially capturing state media and then using that power after the assassination of a high-profile right-wing figure to talk about how conservatives need to use this energy to go out there and mobilize by like joining TPUSA chapters or, I don't know, donating or calling people's employers or whatever. There are probably a lot of very internet poisoned far-right people who are going, you know, not the day of the rope like they hoped. It's been a weird day. Yeah, I mean, the lefty-right distinction doesn't actually mean as much to the right because, again, they would need to believe in something to have an ideological distinction to draw. JD Vance would happily be a communist, by the way. Like, much like Mussolini, who was a thug for socialist union groups before being a fascist. Like, it's not about what they believe in. It doesn't work the same way for leftists, you know? To the people watching this right now, you can't shift ideologies like that because you have beliefs. It's difficult to imagine a person living in a different way, but they really don't believe in anything. Mussolini quoted Bordiga to justify his political violence to socialists who complained. Yeah, and it's like really funny.